Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
The land down under has never been easier to reach. United Airlines has more flights between the U.S. and Australia than any other U.S. airline, so you can fly nonstop to destinations like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Explore dazzling cities, savor the very best of Aussie cuisine, and get up close and personal with the wildlife. Who doesn't want to hold a koala? Go to united.com/Australia to book your adventure.
This series contains adult language and depictions of graphic violence. Listener discretion is advised.
A short walk from the Phoenix Convention Center, through the heat of the day, and my wife and I found ourselves at the San Carlos Hotel. Temperature-wise, it was a strange, almost disorienting experience. The convention center, a truly massive complex built in 2006, is kept at a constant, air-conditioned, somewhat cool environment, at least on the concourse level and restaurant row. But the subterranean convention halls, the cavernous spaces where we spent most of the day, is freezing cold. Seriously, it felt like a walk-in freezer at a restaurant. So we're in that cold environment, in hoodie sweatshirts and jeans. Then we want to take a walk around beautiful downtown Phoenix, and suddenly it's 110 in the shade within the 2-minute time span. That extreme swing in temperature is definitely a shock to the system. But we were able to adjust and make it to the San Carlos without passing out. As you approach the yellow stone hotel, the first thing you notice is that it really stands out, both for its unique color and the fact that it's a 7-story concrete building surrounded by much taller skyscrapers made of steel and glass. We were there on a Sunday afternoon, and the sidewalk bar cafe that's attached to the hotel was nearly full with a vibrant crowd. But inside the lobby is where you really start to realize the age of the building, and not because it was showing its age or seemed to be falling apart, but just because it wasn't very spacious. By now, we're all used to expansive hotel lobbies with huge elevators and long front desks with an army of associates waiting to help you. Not so at the San Carlos. This is an intimate place, comfortable and welcoming. The polished copper elevator doors, the old photographs on the wall that let you know you're stepping back in history, and the small front desk area, just large enough for one employee to see to your needs. For us, that one employee was Tony. Tony loves his job and is exceptionally good at that job. I walked up to the front desk and asked to be introduced to the ghost of Leona Jensen. He smiled. Obviously, he'd heard that a million times. Then he said, "I'm not sure where she is right now, but she's got to be floating around here somewhere." Touché, Tony. Welcome back to The Devil Within. You're listening to part 3 of what I did on my summer break. So I got the history of Miss Jensen and her unfortunate stay at the San Carlos, even the exact location of where she landed after her jump off the roof. And then Tony was nice enough to give us a quick tour of the place. The banquet area and lobby bar seemed unchanged from their heyday back in the 30s. Tony regaled us with stories of politicians who would entertain constituents from all walks of life. And I mean all walks of life. At the very bar we were right then standing in front of. He listed off the legendary celebrities who stayed at the San Carlos, each one memorialized with the star on the sidewalk in front of the hotel. And then Tony said something a bit unusual. When asked about any personal experiences with the White Lady, Leona Jensen, he replied, "Oh yeah, I've interacted with her several times." Interacted. That word seems really, I guess, powerful when discussing how someone perceives an experience with a ghost. I mean, come on, it's usually, holy shit, I saw a ghost, or whoa, I just felt this really strange presence. Not Tony. Tony interacts with the ghosts at the San Carlos. And not just the White Lady. I asked Tony about the ancient well in the basement. About that well, by the way, it's still there. Empty and covered up for safety reasons, but still there. On the wall in the lobby, there's a framed information-style poster, like something you'd see at a museum, that explains that the grounds on which the hotel's built was the site of the first elementary school in Phoenix. As mentioned in an earlier episode, the story goes that a couple kids died in the well while they were playing a little too close and fell in. As Tony was explaining the story, he dropped in the little nugget, quote, "I've interacted with them as well, several times." Tony's been at the San Carlos for 6 years, and he told me he loves his job and that of all the hotels in the greater Phoenix area, he's so grateful that he was hired at the one place where he truly feels at home. At home among the unsettled spirits that haunt this desert oasis. Day 2, we went to the Rawson House, and the only thing I wanted to investigate is this phantom fireplace. Remember the one that pours heat into the room even though it hasn't been lit for decades? Well, first of all, the house itself is gorgeous and imposing. The type of house you'd expect a successful surgeon and politician to live in. It's the kind of place an important person believes exudes an important person lives here kind of vibe. Yeah, mission accomplished, Doc. But about that fireplace. I stood in front of it, and no shit, there was hot air pouring out of it in a steady stream. At first, it was, I got to admit, kind of spooky. But no one who worked there seemed to be freaked out by this constant paranormal phenomenon happening right in front of their eyes. That seemed weird. So I investigated a little further, and then I remembered something. I have a fireplace in my house. It's on the first floor in the living room. When we first moved in, I noticed something strange. Every now and then, ash from the fireplace, when I was too lazy to clean up right after a fire, but ash from the fireplace would be sprinkled around the hearth and the floor near the fireplace. And I couldn't figure out why, until I witnessed it happening. It was during a particularly strong Santa Ana event. So the Santa Ana winds in Los Angeles are hot, dry winds blowing into Los Angeles from the eastern deserts through to the coast. So what does a strong wind event have to do with ashes on my living room floor? Well, old school fireplaces like mine have a little trap door that you can open, and all the ashes will fall down into a small chamber that is accessible from the outside, so you can clean the fireplace without getting the room all dirty. And when the winds blow strong enough, the force of that wind is enough to actually be able to make its way through that external chamber, up through the trap door, and blow ashes out of the fireplace. Do you see where I'm going with this? Apparently, the previous owner of my house blocked the exterior access with a large rock to prevent squirrels and raccoons from being trapped. That large rock was enough to prevent me from seeing it, but also there was enough room for wind to make its way around the rock and up through the chamber. Okay, now think about the Rawson House fireplace. It's an old house and an old fireplace with a trapdoor for the ashes just like mine. The difference between now and when the Rawson House was built is the quality of the air conditioning. As you walk around the house, just like the convention center, it's cold, almost uncomfortably so. But then you walk by the fireplace and bam, a gush of hot air. Almost like there's a phantom fire burning. But what if they just keep that little trap door open and the exterior access unobstructed? Well, then that hot 100+ degree air from just outside will be constantly rushing into the over-air-conditioned Rawson House. Given the temperature disparity that I experienced walking out of the convention center, it's no wonder people think it's a phantom fire and that they're witnessing a supernatural event. Okay, gang, I'm going to keep these summer episodes a little shorter. It's harder to find the time when I'm on the road, and being away from my home studio makes production a little tricky. I'm sorry if the audio quality is suffering a little bit in this episode, but I'll keep checking in as my travels progress. But for now, Tony at the San Carlos seems to think that the ghosts there are legit. I might circle back and try again to experience some interactions myself. But the phantom fire at the Rawson house seems to just be a lot of hot air. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm sorry about that joke. You deserve better. Thanks for listening. Make sure you're following The Devil Within wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. You can also check out our socials at The Devil Within Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Until next time, stay safe out there.
The Devil Within is a Cloud 10 Media production, recorded live at Bel Air Studios in Los Angeles, California. Written and produced by Brandon Morgan. Executive produced by Sim Sarna. Our post-production supervisor is Bruce Whitkin, who also provided original music for this episode. For The Devil Within, I'm your host, Brandon Morgan.